There was once a point in my life where I was actually excited to grow up when I was young. I don't know what age really, but there was a time, or maybe a few times throughout my life, where I was looking forward to the future. I thought things would be better as I got older. I thought life would get better as I got older. I think when you're little, at least in my case, when I was young, just a little kid, I thought, when I grow up, nobody's going to be able to tell me what to do. I'm going to have all this freedom to just be who I want to be and do whatever I want to do. I'm not going to have to listen to what my parents tell me. Not going to have to do chores or go to school or, little simple things. I thought I would just have, I guess, freedom in some capacity. And then you get older and you don't get that freedom quite yet, and it's still the same kind of thing, 16 or so, and I'm thinking I can't wait till I'm 18 or 20 and I can move out on my own and nobody can tell me what to do. I'll have freedom, like I always wanted. I'll be able to just live and do what I please and nobody can tell me otherwise. That's not true. I'm sure there's some things that I could have done to change the truth of that. I'm sure if I would have started working earlier, making money, or finding a better job, or going to college and getting a degree to get a better job, maybe I would have more freedom. I'd have more ability to be free and to do what I want to do. And it's not like I don't. I don't really have anybody that tells me what I can and can't do or what I should and shouldn't do. I mean, my basic natural moral intuition and my parents and people looking out for me want best for me. Obviously I have the knowledge to know there are things that I should and shouldn't do, so it's not like, I guess it's not like that, but I am at a point where I'm old enough that I have responsibilities now, and a lot more serious responsibilities than when I was a little kid wishing that I didn't have to listen to my parents when they told me to clean my room. Now I have a life that I have to lead, I have to build, I have to succeed in some capacity because I don't want to be a failure forever. I mean, and that is very broad in terms of, well, what do you consider to be a failure or whatever, but I have hopes and dreams and aspirations of some variety or some capacity that I hope to achieve someday. And at the current rate, with what I'm doing and where I'm going, that seems highly unachievable. Seems very unlikely that I will ever be or do any of the things that I dream or hope of. And that's okay. That's not really, I mean, we'll see what happens, right? It's way too early in my life to say that it's not gonna happen or I'm never gonna be anybody or whatever. I'm young. I have plenty of life to lead, or at least I hope I do. Can't really. One thing is determined in this life, and that is that we will die. Everybody, everywhere, someday, somehow, we're all gonna die, and that sucks. That really sucks. Nobody wants to die. Well, you shouldn't want to die, I will say, because I've had some points in my life where I wanted to die, but that's not the point today. The point is we're all gonna die eventually. One day, somehow, some way, we're all gonna die. Life keeps going. Time doesn't stop for anybody. And that's really what I've been thinking about lately is time. Time in general. Time sucks. I oftentimes wish, and I need to stop saying time so much, but I I wish that I could like control time or like that time traveling was a thing. You know, I wish I could like go back to when I was a little kid and either relive that moment or those moments, those years with some, if not all of the knowledge that I have now and like do better as a kid, especially like middle school me when I wasn't doing anything, definitely not going to school. And like I wish I could go back and like redo that and like redo a lot of things that I did or did not do and just actually, I guess, live my life again, I don't think I'd want to go to the future. I think that'd be terrifying to see what's not even just what my future holds, but the future of the world in general. I think would be way too scary to see. I don't want to know what's going to happen. But I would like to, sometimes I'd like to go back and either redo things, go back and and it's not that like I regret them. I try not to regret. I mean, there's moments where it's like, wow, why did I do that or say that or whatever. But like overall, I'm very happy with the life that I've lived or led. I'm very happy with many, if not all of the things that I've done. I mean, everything in my life has brought me to where I am, and while where I am is not perfect and it's not definitely far from what I had always thought it would be when I reached this point in my life, it's definitely better than it could have been. There's a lot of things in my life that could be a hell of a lot worse. I mean, I could be living in my childhood home with my mom on that horrible neighborhood and tiny little house, and lots of bad things about that place. Lots of bad things. It's very, very grateful that I am not growing up there still. You know, I could be still in that same tiny little house with the cops coming down the street every other day, crazy neighbors bashing on other doors and threatening to stab each other, and, you know, normal childhood growing up stuff. So there's a lot of things that I'm grateful that I'm not in anymore. There's a lot of things I'm grateful that time moved on and went past and things changed, and I'm happy where I'm at, even if it's not perfect, even if it's not what I had hoped for or what I dreamed it would be. It's better than it could be, and I'll always be appreciative of that. And I can't help but wonder if it could have been better had I done things differently. I think that's relatively normal to think about, is if I would have done something else, or if I would have done more with my time or whatever, really. What could have been different? What could have changed? What could have been better or worse? And so I think it'd be nice to be able to go back in time and maybe not, maybe not change things. Maybe I'm thinking more of like being able to see a different universe where I did do things differently, or being able to influence and see like what it could have been or what could be. I think that'd be really neat. Or maybe I'd like to just go back and have a conversation with my younger self and sit myself down and say, hey, I know you think things are terrible right now and things are not working out the way you want them to, or whatever's bothering you at the time, whatever age I was and whatever was wrong with me back then, and be able to sit down and talk to myself and talk myself through it and be able to say, hey, you know, it's all right. It's gonna be all right. Things are gonna work out. Just do the best you can, whatever. Maybe give myself the advice that I'd always hoped somebody would give me, or tell myself some of the things that I'd always hoped my parents would have told me, or something. I don't really know what I would say if I was able to. I'd like to say that I would like to be able to, but I don't know what I would do if I could. I really don't know what I would do if I could. I don't know what I would say. I don't know if I would be able to even change anything or convince myself to change anything. And I don't know if it would be a good thing. Like I said, I'm pretty happy with where I'm at. It's not perfect, and sometimes it's not even great, but it can always be worse. That's not my favorite thing in the world to say or to hear, is that, well, it could be worse. Like, obviously, everything could be worse. Everything could always be worse. There will always be, you could just be dead. And that's probably as worst as it gets, is just being dead. And, well, I don't really know. I don't really know. I just oftentimes wish I could change things a little more, I guess. Oftentimes I wish things could be better. I wish I could have made things better sooner. I mean, I'm trying to now, and oftentimes it feels like it's just too late, but that's really never the case. It's really never too late for anything. We're all on this little spinning rock in space until we're not. You know, we're all here just doing whatever we can, whatever we want to the best of our capabilities up until the day that you can't anymore, whether it's because you're too old to do anything or because you're just passed on. And I mean, I hope everybody gets to grow too old to do anything and passes on in a natural way, because it could be tomorrow that you go. You don't know, you never know. That's kind of the thing about life and death, is it's never guaranteed. I mean, it's guaranteed, but it's never for sure, I guess. You're never guaranteed to live a good life. You have to do that yourself. I've come to that realization somewhat recently, that the only person that can live your life is you. As stupid as it sounds to say that, but I don't know. It makes sense in my head that it took a while for that to click with me, that the only person that can live your life is you, and you have to do something if you ever want to live some way or somehow, or enjoy the life you're living, I think is a better way to word it. You have to put in the effort and the work and you know, you have to do what you want to do to live the life that you want to live. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't really have a problem with that. I think it's just an interesting concept that took a long time for me to realize. And maybe that's what I would say to my younger self if I could go back in time. Maybe I would just say, hey, if you want to live this life that you dream of, then you got to start doing it. You got to start doing something about it instead of sitting around thinking it's going to fall into your lap. And that's never really been my thing. Like, I don't feel I never really had expectations. I never expected everything to just fall into place. Granted, there's been a lot of times where I just kind of had a gut feeling that things were going to work out, and maybe not completely in my favor, but something, somewhere, someone was looking out for me, and things were going to work out in some way that I feel like I need more specifics. Like, when it came to my school struggles, I've talked about this in other videos, but basically, to sum it up, I didn't go to school, spent a lot of time on probation, was told many, 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 many times that I was going to be taken out of my house and have to live in a foster home or a group home or an orphanage, something, somewhere. Someone else was going to be taking care of me, and it was not going to be my parents, and I was never going to be able to talk to my parents again. Blah 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 blah. They were not lying, but that never happened. Things just worked out for me. I did not change my behavior. I did not hear their warnings and be like, oh my gosh, I'm so scared, I'm gonna get my head straight and go back to school like nothing happened. And that didn't happen. I didn't get taken away, but I also didn't go back to school for probably 3 or 4 more years since that all started. Anyways, that's another video. Not important. What's important right now is just talking about time. So what I'm trying to say is things tend to just work out, and that's lucky me, It's never expected. It's just, like I said, it's just lucky me that things have worked out in my favor. But the life that I want to live is not going to come from just hoping things are going to work out. The life that I dream of is not going to come from sitting around and just saying, well, one day or another, it'll happen. Like, it might not. There's no guarantee that it's going to happen. There's never a guarantee that anything is going to happen. Nothing in life is guaranteed except for death. Like I said before, as depressing as it is, it's true, and it sucks. But we're all getting older. Everybody, every day is a step closer to the grave. That's really depressing, but it just sucks. It just sucks. Really, that's it. That's it just sucks. Growing old sucks. Everything just keeps going. It just never ends until it does. Life just keeps going on until one day it doesn't. And that could be tomorrow. That could be in best case scenario, but I'm like 20 something. So like, let's go 80 years from now. God, could you imagine if I'm alive for another 80 years? Like, I want to be, but at the same time, with the current state of my life, I don't think I could take another 80 years of this. And that's sad to say because I want to live a long, happy life, but emphasis on the happy part, you know? So I don't know. I don't know. I think oftentimes, I think what I was even trying to talk about, the whole point of this video, because I've gone way off the rails from the start. I just wish that I could pause time sometimes. I wish I could just freeze a moment, freeze everything, and just live for a while and live a few years in the same year. You know, do a ton of different little things without any time having passed at all, you know? Sometimes I wish I could just pause the day and sleep for 36 hours and then wake up and it's still the same day or the next day instead of, 36 hours is what, like 2 days, close to 2 days, something like that. And other times I wish I could just pause, like right now, I'm 22. I wish I could just pause the rest of this year and live the rest of the year in May and do a ton of different stuff, go enjoy a bunch of time with my family and then unpause and oh, it's still only June. Like how wonderful. We just traveled the entire world and it's only been 2 days. Like that'd be wonderful. That would be so wonderful. Maybe then if I could do something like that, maybe I'd feel like there's enough time in this life for everything because I am very quick to say life is long and hopefully it is. But on the flip side, it feels very short. Life feels very, very short. It does not feel the length that it is. I mean, I've been alive for 20 something years, and granted, you don't have your first memories until you're like 4 or whatever, and even then, it's all pretty choppy because you're just a little kid and you're growing and learning, and your brain is developing, and et cetera, et cetera. I guess your brain doesn't ever really stop developing and growing and whatnot, but you don't really feel the 20 years that you've been alive, and maybe that's different when you're 60. Maybe you feel all 60 years that you've lived. I mean, I've talked to a lot of old people at work and just in my life in general. I mean, my own parents are old and they're getting older, and I think that's really the root of this video is I'm thinking about my parents getting older and how much I hate it. I hate that my parents are getting older. I i am very afraid of the future. If that wasn't clear earlier when I was talking about the time travel and everything, I'm very scared of the future because I know that my future does not hold good tidings. I don't know if that's the right way to use that word, but it's the first thing that came to my head, so we're going with it. Point being though, I know that there's bad things coming in my future. I mean, I've known that ever since I was a little kid, that life is hard and my whole game is frozen and might have just crashed. So there are many good things in life. There's many good parts to life, many happy moments, many wonderful times, lots of good, lots of good. Is it an even balance? I don't think so. And I don't think you really ever will have one. I don't think it's possible. I don't think you can compare the good to the bad because you will always feel weighted towards one or the other. Some of my best moments will always be outweighed by some of the hardest times, you know? There's lots of love to give and receive in this world, yet those moments when that love is taken from you is still gonna hurt more than the times it was given, if that makes sense. You know, it's just a way of life. And like I said, I've known for a long time that there were bad things coming in my future, whether it be due to my own actions, such as not going to school, leading me to not having a social life, leading to being very lonely in my old age, even though I'm not old, but to other things, things that still haven't quite happened yet, like knowing that both of my parents are extremely unhealthy in their own ways, and that neither of them will probably live to see 100. And maybe that's not necessarily a bad thing, because being old and 100 and not being able to really like function or do anything and whatever, like I was just talking about being, I hope to be 100 or whatever, but at the same time it'd probably suck to be 100. But my point is, both my parents are very unhealthy, and at a certain point in my life, when I guess I realized that, I realized who my parents are and the things that my parents do, it's kind of expected that there's not gonna be, and granted, I'm lucky to have had them for this long, to be fair. I'm very lucky to have my parents. It's not like they're super old. I mean, relatively. I don't actually know my parents' ages. I think they're both probably coming up on their 60s or something. And I guess there's this kind of underlying fear that my parents' lifestyle is going to catch up to them. I'm saying that as if they're a together, but they both are separate, and they're both unhealthy in their own ways. And I love them both with all of my heart. So please do not hear this and think, wow, this kid must hate his parents or something, because I truly don't. But I can look at them with, I guess, an outside perspective, and I can look at the people they are and the things that they do, and I can say, like, that's not good. That's not gonna help if you're trying to be healthy and alive and in my life, to see me go on to be somebody or get married or something. Like, if I don't get married in the next 10 years or so, I don't know if either of my parents are gonna be there to see it, you know? And that sucks to think about. That's not something I like to spend my time thinking about, but I think this year has been a bit eye-opening for me, I guess. My dad has been having some medical issues, and I don't really have the heart to ask him to tell me about it, and he's not a very emotional person or a very open person for that matter, so I don't think he'll ever tell me much more than the surface level. But I know he's had to get quite a few surgeries, if you will, basically just getting chunks of his skin removed because there are cancer cells in there. So, like, I don't think my dad full on has cancer technically, but it's also like he might or is developing it or something. And my mom is a heavy smoker since she was like 14, and she's an alcoholic. And so, like, not healthy lifestyle by any means. And when I was little, probably like 6 years old, my mom had collapsed in our kitchen, and she had to spend, God, I don't even know how long she spent in the hospital figuring out what was wrong. She had a thyroid problem or a heart problem, or it was caused by her smoking. And this was when I was 6, we'll go with, like maybe 8, maybe 6, that she had a problem with her heart because she smoked too much or something, or just the smoking in general was catching up to her since she's like 14 when she started. And she still smokes to this day. I don't think it's really slowed down at all. But, like, she knows she shouldn't be. She's literally had to go to the hospital. She had to spend Thanksgiving in the hospital. I remember this because my dad's told me the story many times. I remember playing in a little toy sand pit thing when we went to go visit her, because we went to go visit her on Thanksgiving in the hospital, where she couldn't get out of bed and do anything. And all I remember is playing in this little toy pit. The only memory I have of this Thanksgiving with her. But it didn't seem to open up her eyes enough to want to quit smoking and try to be healthier and try to add some years onto her life or anything. So it's kind of been this little bit of acceptance somewhere in the back of my head that, like, I know my parents aren't healthy and I know they're probably not going to be around to see any of the great things that I hope to do with my life. Sure, I hope they are. I hope I'm completely wrong and I hope their lives don't catch up to them and by some miracle they both live to see 120 years old and get to be proud of me on my wedding day and see all the wonderful things I hope to do in this world. Is it going to happen? I doubt it. I don't know, but I won't be surprised. I'm going to be hurt. It's not something you can prepare for. I think death in general, especially not the death of a parent, it's not something you can ever prepare your mind for. It's going to, as much as I can sit here and say like, "Oh yeah, I'm no, it's going to happen." I mean, everybody knows it's going to happen eventually. And as much as I can sit here and say like I'm mentally aware or accepting of the fact like it's not gonna be when it happens, that's gonna rip me apart. It's gonna just uproot everything that I thought I know or love or whatever. Like, it's gonna have a big effect on me. Obviously it's death, and it's the death of a parent or both parents, and it's traumatizing. It's sad. It sucks. And I wish that it didn't have to happen. I wish that I could just pause time and say, you know what? No, we're not going to get any older. You guys just, you might not be healthy. You might not be in the best shape of your life, but you're going to live the way you are. And we're all going to just live happily ever after the way we are. I mean, I'm not in my peak physical state or anything. I'm extremely unhealthy. I'm extremely malnourished. I eat one meal a day every day, work night shift, and I have a horrible sleep schedule, but you know, at least I'm kicking and breathing and I have people around me relatively that love and care about me, and sometimes I wish I could just freeze this moment and stay at this point forever, because I know that in the future it's not always going to be this way. I'm not always going to be, you know, even with my unhealthiness, I am still functioning. Give me a few years, you know, when I'm 32 and I'm eating one meal a day and barely sleeping, I'm gonna be a walking train wreck 24/7. Like, my body won't be able to keep up with the unhealthiness of it. But right now, I can basically do whatever I want and feel fine the next day, and that's wonderful. That's a great thing. So I guess I wish I could just pause time or go back in time or just, I don't know. I don't know. I really don't. I'm not sure what I want in this world. I mean, I want things to be better. I want to I want to feel like I don't want to pause time. You know, I want to be happy with everything as it's happening and everything as it's going. I want to be accepting. I'm a pretty accepting person. I don't look to the sky and question why things happen to me. Well, I guess I look to YouTube to do that, but it's more just because I like to deep dive into my own brain and my own thoughts and whatnot. But like, at the end of the day, I know things are the way they are, and there's not much you can do to change that in a very vague sense, because I'm not trying to deep dive into anything else here. I've been talking for way too long. But at the end of the day, I accept things for the way they are. I accept things happen. I accept that a lot of things, it just is what it is, you know? But I guess I guess maybe I just want to grow a better acceptance, because maybe there's a lot of things that I still just can't accept or have trouble accepting, and maybe growing old is one of those things. Maybe I just have a hard time accepting that this is life. This is what it is. We are all going to get old. We are all going to die, and it's gonna suck. And I'm gonna be real sad about it. I am already sad enough as is, so I can't imagine how much worse it's gonna be. But I know it's gonna be, and I guess that's okay. You know, maybe that is my acceptance, is I know it's gonna get worse. I know life is not going to ever be perfect, as much as I can hope and pray and try and work and whatever. There will always be problems. There are always going to be issues. There's always going to be a new battle. Maybe someday there won't be, but I guess I'm okay with that. Or at least I guess I'm trying to be okay. Is that a panda? I guess I'm trying to be okay with that. That's a fucking cockatoo. Okay, well, anyways. I'm still heartbroken about the pandas that I just murdered a little bit ago, but it's besides the point. The point is, time just keeps going. It doesn't slow down. It definitely doesn't stop for anybody, no matter how much you plead and beg and scream and cry. I've done all of them, all too much, all too often, for no results. So really the only thing you can do is be accepting, I guess. I, yeah. Yeah, I guess that is what it is the only thing you really can do is accept it for what it is, and accept the fact that your time here is limited. Everyone's time here is limited. We just have to appreciate and love everyone and everything that we can while we still can, because they're not going to be here forever. You're not going to be here forever. I'm not going to be here forever. We just do what we can do and try to cherish the moments and the good times and even the bad ones. Cherish those horrid, horrid feelings and those people that made you feel them, because we're all going through our own things. We all got our own problems, our own issues, and our own lives that we're leading, trying to figure it out one day at a time, just like everybody else. All we can do is accept it. All we can do is try our best, and, well, once again, oh, I thought he was laying down. I thought he like flipped over inside the boat, but I think he's just a normal panda, sadly, but that's okay. Anywho, I'm gonna go because, well, I guess I got some stuff to think about, but to be honest, I think I'm gonna call my mom, tell her I love her, ask her how her day's going, make sure she ate something because she has a tendency to forget to do that, and I don't know. We'll see what happens from there. So, thanks for watching, listening, spending some time with me while I dig through the deep thoughts in my brain and, slowly dig this depression hole bigger and bigger. But, well, as I literally just said, thank you. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you giving me some of your time, hanging out with me, whatever you want to call it. And I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope you have a wonderful month. I hope time feels a little slower for you lately, and you can just stop and appreciate the things and the people around you and cherish the moment for what it is. I know I'm trying to do a better job at that, so hopefully I can inspire somebody else to do the same. But I'll see you next time, whenever that may be, after I try to save this turtle. Don't go that way. Get back in the water. Go. Be free. Swim. Okay. Anyways, no. I want to save this turtle, and then I'm going to go. Dude, I suck with these outros, so I'm really just going to wrap this up. Well, this is the wrap up, but, like, be free. Be free. Thank you. Okay. Goodbye, everybody. Good night. Good day. Whatever. I love you so much. Thank you all. Have a good life. Or try to. Because that's what I'm trying to do.